What's up, everybody? It is Sunday, November 13th, about 2:15 Eastern. What's that face for?
Well, you were just talking before we started about how you didn't know how you're going to start this show. I thought you had something creative or clever to say.
No.
You just started with, "What's up, everybody?" Okay.
No, keep it original. It is Sunday. Logan is facing 3 feet of snow out his window, wearing a Christmas hat, sipping his coffee out of a mug. It is winter. Winter is here. 30 degrees in Louisville. I'm sure it's colder in South Bend. Winter has arrived, and basketball season has arrived. Let me ask you that. Should we make the switch? Should basketball lead the show from now on?
I mean, yeah, but we're not going to talk about basketball much because we're doing our post-game shows. So,
yeah, that's true.
But yes, I think we probably can start with basketball. It's basketball season, football season. So
it's basketball season.
We've moved on.
Yes. But we will talk football. Continue to talk football. It has been a great season, but at the moment, basketball is what's on everybody's mind. This is No One Asked Us. I'm Craig Choate. That is Logan Lee across the screen. Thank you for tuning in. While you're here, if you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Numbers keep continuing to grow, thanks in large part to the Postgame Shows, which we will plug here in a little bit. But give us a like, give us a subscribe. Follow us on all our social media at No One Asked Us Pod for the show. I'm at Craig W. Choate. He's at the Logan Lee. All of that on Twitter. We have a Facebook page, No One Asked Us, and Instagram at No One Asked Us Pod. My handle is the same on Instagram, at a 91 to Logan's on Instagram, and that's where you will find him. Chapters are in the description of the episode. If you don't want to hear football talk and jump right to basketball, you can do that. If you want to hear Logan's thoughts on Wakanda Forever, which we will end the show with, you can jump right to that as well. We try to make it easy for you as a listener. We do appreciate you listening and tuning in, so we are here to serve you. We are going to, since we do have a lot to talk about with football and basketball in season, we're going to skip over our weekly stuff of moment of the week, question of the week. But I will tell you the answer to last week's question. We did ask who the audience thought would be the leading scorer for the men's basketball team this year, and a good majority, I think close to 70% of you said Terrence Shannon Jr., which I do agree with. I think he will end up being the leading scorer. Behind him was Coleman Hawkins, then RJ Melendez, and Matthew Meyer got 0 votes. One person today did say that Dane Danger might be a close second, and I just don't see that at all.
I don't either.
We'll see. He's had a fun two game stretch, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But we are just going to get right into it. Illinois football drops another game, second in a row, 31-24 at home to Purdue on Saturday. I'm not exactly sure what to think. I'm going to be completely honest. I posed the question in the group chat, what happened to this team?
Hashtag the group chat.
Hashtag the group chat.
I should just go on the screen every single time you mention the group chat. Hashtag the group chat. The group chat that I'm not in, but it's hashtag the group chat. That just needs to go on every time.
My group chat with my alumni guys and friends from home, which we named in 2015 when I created it, Illini Guys. And now there's a whole nother website called Illini Guys. That's neither here nor there. I posed the question, what happened to the team we saw for the first 8 weeks of the season? And the consensus was other teams have adjusted to Illinois, and Illinois hasn't adjusted. So I don't know if that's what it comes down to, but Purdue did pretty much dominate this game. They led every statistical category. They led first downs, they led total yards, they led passing yards, they led rushing yards. They had half the amount of penalties that Illinois had. They had 4.5 more minutes of possession that Illinois had. They pretty much controlled the entire game, which is what Illinois had been doing prior to the Michigan State game. They played Illinois' game against Illinois. Tommy DeVito, 18 of 32, 201 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Chase Brown, 23 carries for 98 yards, so he does not clip the 200 or the 100-yard mark for the first time in a long time. 2 touchdowns for him. And then through the air, Brian Hightower, 5 catches, 89 yards. Chase Brown did have a fumble, but he did not lose the fumble. So no fumbles, no interceptions. Did Illinois have an interception? 1 interception, Tyler Strain. It was just it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I know a lot of the talk is about the refs, and they were horrendous. But at the end of the day, you got to adjust. You got to. It was called the same both sides. I just thought the refs were bad both ways. No reason for Illinois to make that an excuse, which the team didn't. It was the Twitter fingers that were calling for the refs, including me, because it was the same refs as the Indiana game that took away a touchdown from Illinois in that game that would have potentially won the game, that gave Purdue a touchdown in this game, one play after a questionable pass interference call. So I don't really know how to recap it, because it's just kind of, I'm over it. They had the potential to go to Indianapolis, and 2 weeks in a row against Michigan State, a depleted Michigan State team, you don't come out to play ready to play and you get punked. And then this week at home, you come out good. It was 14-7. Illinois had the lead, and then things just fell apart and you got emotional and weren't making the plays. What are your thoughts, kind of as a whole, the last 2 weeks? Maybe not specifically Purdue, because it's kind of a microcosm of the last 2 weeks in that one game.
I mean, I don't think I can say anything that you haven't already said. I think you're right that the officiating was bad, but we can certainly not blame the officiating. The comment is true. I think teams have adjusted better to Illinois than Illinois has adjusted to other teams. Illinois and Tommy DeVito, for the most part all season, they've been competent. Like, we've used the word a lot, and I don't think that quarterback play has diminished at all. I'll just say this, and I don't want to be all super downer and whatever. I know we were riding high on this team, and we had every right to be riding high on this team. But this is a bad division. This is a bad division of football teams. We can get to that when we talk about power rankings, which I'm almost going to protest even doing, because what the hell? It's just one of those things that I don't know. Yes, they have the nation's leading rusher, and yes, they have a defense who, up to the last couple of weeks, looked to be a pretty damn good defense, but they haven't played anybody.
No one.
They have not played anybody other than these other teams in this same division that aren't very good. I don't think it really matters who wins this division. It does not matter. They will get trounced by whoever they play in Indianapolis. I've enjoyed watching this Illinois team. Listen, they're 7-3. We're in the middle of November, and regardless of how the last 2 games have gone, this team is 7-3 and will likely finish the season with 8 wins. Did we predict 8 wins? I mean, was that a realistic thing we talked about? That was my
ceiling. Ceiling was 8-4. 4 was 4-8.
They're looking at likely winning 8 wins. That's assuming they can beat a really terrible Northwestern team. But like, we have to be happy for where we're at. This team has overperformed all season long, up until these last couple weeks. I know it's discouraging. I know it's disappointing to the fan base and to the players and to the team, and how these last 2 weeks have gone, because they probably should have won these last 2 games. But to be 7-3 on November 13th, and to be looking at one more win coming up here in a couple weeks, most likely, it's nothing to be upset about. It is disappointing, and I don't really know what all the reasons are, other than the fact that, as you mentioned, other teams have just adjusted better. But I think we got to be happy with what we have and hope that they can continue to build on it, because I think this will go down as a really good football season, but it would be really nice if this could be like the beginning of something special. And that's more what I'm hoping for at this point.
Yeah, my thought, I don't remember if it was last night after the game or during the game. It had to have been after, because I was just kind of going through the stats and dissecting and digesting what just happened. And 2 weeks ago, we talked about, I specifically talked about, going to Indianapolis, maybe not going to the game, but just having orange and blue and Illinois in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship. all the excitement. And now 2 weeks later, I'm like, I don't even care. Like, we were planning on going to the bowl game. If it was in Orlando or in Florida, we were going to travel down there to go to the bowl game, Citrus Bowl. That's not going to happen. It's just 2 weeks ago, this season could have been a huge leap forward. Now it's just going to be a step forward.
Yeah. No, that's a good way of putting it. I agree with that. That's a good way, and I think that's fair.
You know, we
I think
could
that's
have
the difference.
skipped 3 rungs on the ladder, but now we're just going up maybe 2. We might skip 1 rung on the ladder because going from 5 to potentially 8 regular season wins is a pretty good jump.
Yeah.
So it just kind of, I said it last week, it takes some of the shine off of what potentially could have been a very good Big Ten championship appearance season. That's where
true.
I'm at.
That's
It's
it.
not, and I know I've been, vocal the last 2 weeks, how it's basketball season and all that. None of that means, and I said it last week, none of that means I'm not satisfied with this football season. Like, Illinois had 7 wins in their first 8 games. Hasn't happened in forever. It's been a very successful season. But like I said then, and I'll say now, I'm a basketball fan first. Basketball season is here. The football team is not playing well. I'm on to basketball. Will I still watch every Saturday? Yes. Will I want them to win every game? Yes. Am I going to root for them in the bowl, whatever bowl game they go to? Yes. If it's close enough, will I still go? If they go to the Music City Bowl, there's a chance I'll still drive 3 hours to Nashville to go see them. But I will not drive 12 hours to go see this team if they're in Charlotte at the Duke's Mayo Bowl. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean that's the situation we're in. We just, as I said, to finish the season with potentially 8 wins is a feat I'll be celebrating if we can get to that point. So take it for what it is. They overperformed out of the gate. Well, not out of the gate. They stumbled out of the gate, and then they overperformed after that. But yeah, it's certainly disappointing, and it does take some of the shine off of what could have been a really special season.
Yeah. Next up, Michigan at Michigan.
I'm not going to the game at Michigan. I know it was discussed.
Logan did ask me 2 weeks ago, would you want to drive to Ann Arbor? I said no. Even then, I was like, no, not happening.
I mean, it's not that far from me.
Not for you. I mean, if they would have been 9-1 going to this game, I would hope you would drive to Ann Arbor to go see this team play. But 7-3 with a line just came out like an hour ago, a 17-point spread, which honestly I thought might be bigger. I would not expect you to go to this. But yes, it's Michigan. They're 10-0, 7-0. They're a top 4 team right now. They would be in the playoff if it started right now. It is a 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern kick on ABC. I just don't have any expectations for this. Chase Brown might be out. He left the game last drive of the game, I believe, like 3 minutes
do we know
left.
Anything about that?
I
had turned the game off by then. But somebody else texted me as it happened. So I didn't even see it, and I haven't seen any updates since then. So
I've
where are
not
we
seen
at
an
with
update.
this?
I've not seen an update. I would assume they'll have something tomorrow on his weekly presser that he does, but I would also assume him to say he's day to day because that's what he's done with everyone, even DeVito with Josh McCray. Oh, Josh McCray, he said he would be out a few weeks, but that's another thing. He did not play Saturday. I think I saw that he rolled his ankle in practice. No, he rolled his ankle last week or something. I don't know. He aggravated something or did something else to keep him out of last week. So, yeah, Michigan, I got nothing. I just don't have any confidence heading into it. Illinois could very easily lose this game by 30 the way things are going. It's at Michigan. Yeah, I just don't have anything to add.
I don't either. I just hope they can cover that spread.
Other news off the field last week, Barry Lunny did receive an extension prior to the Purdue game. This was on the 9th, so Wednesday-ish.
Yes, Wednesday.
1 year extension through 2025. He is earning $675K this year. He will be paid 800, 800, and 2023 825 each of the following 2 seasons. So there's that. Cool, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's I like that they're
Being proactive.
being proactive and
Yep.
investing in the program. I mean, you can
Yeah.
say what you want about Barry Lunny and how the last couple games have gone. But I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, I want to see them lock up the D coordinator quickly,
Yeah.
but that hasn't happened yet, which I'm sure it will. But he also will jump at the first opportunity to take a head coaching job, which could come soon. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean Ryan Walters would be the preference there. But yeah, I assume that will come soon.
Yeah, I would assume also that Bielema might get one. I
Well,
don't
yeah,
know.
that too.
I don't know what did he get one after last year? I don't know if he got one after last year, but
I don't remember.
normally if a coach has a good year, the school will throw a year or two onto their contract to say, hey, you had a good year, we'll give you another one on your contract to give you some stability. But yes, also would I love for Ryan Walters to take a head coaching job at certain places? Yeah, sure, go for it. Colorado, yeah, for sure. Even if Nebraska came running and was like, hey, we want Ryan Walters, can you blame him for taking a Big Ten head coaching job? No, even though
No.
it's in the Big Ten. But maybe this 2-game slide backs off some of the suitors that were potentially on him beforehand. So there's that. Other scores from the Big Ten this week: Ohio State, Indiana blowout. Michigan State beats Rutgers by 6. Michigan, Nebraska blowout. Penn State, Maryland shutout 30-0. Iowa does beat Wisconsin by 2 scores. That was in Iowa, yeah. And Minnesota by 28 over Northwestern. I did see this morning. There are a lot of different scenarios for how this Big Ten West will shake out now, because there are
No kidding.
4 teams tied at 4-3, and Wisconsin is 3-4. Is that right? Are they still in it? Because they're on this list.
Yeah, they're 3-4. They could, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know who everybody plays, but yeah. I mean, up until yesterday, I feel like even Northwestern had a shot to sneak in there.
They did. Everyone had a shot up until yesterday. Yes. Yeah. 4 teams at 4-3 and Wisconsin at 3-4. So Purdue went out in a loss. Iowa lost versus Minnesota or Nebraska. So if Purdue wins out and Iowa loses one more game, Purdue gets it. Here are Illinois. I'm not going to read all these, but Purdue is the favorite right now. If they win out, they will, I think, win the Big Ten West. Does that sound right? It would have to be, I think.
Well, they lost to Iowa and they lost to Wisconsin, but they beat Minnesota. So I don't know how all of it plays out, but yeah, I mean Wisconsin's probably the less likely. Yeah, I mean they might be the favorite. I don't know that that's
the 2 most likely
scenario.
are Purdue. Here we go. The 2 most likely are Purdue. And if they win out and Iowa loses versus Minnesota or Nebraska, Purdue wins. Minnesota, if they win out and Purdue loses one of their final 2, Minnesota wins. Here are Illinois scenarios. This is assuming a loss this week. So this would assume that Illinois heads to Northwestern at 4-4 in the Big Ten. Assuming loss versus Michigan, you have to beat Northwestern. Purdue loss versus Northwestern or Indiana, and Minnesota loss versus Iowa or Wisconsin, and Iowa loss versus Minnesota or Nebraska. So Illinois, assuming a loss against Michigan, has to beat Northwestern, and then Purdue, Minnesota, and Iowa have to lose one of their last 2. All of them. And Illinois would still go to the Big Ten championship game.
Just beat Michigan. Just beat
Michigan would help a ton. Yes. So this was from, if you want to check out the full board, Ryan Burns, who covers Minnesota football. I think he's one of the best in the Big Ten at covering football. He laid out a whole spreadsheet of results, and if this game goes this way, this is who. He's got every scenario listed out on his Twitter if you want to go check it out. All right. This week's games, we just said some of them. Illinois at Minnesota, or Illinois at Michigan, Northwestern at Purdue, Indiana at Michigan State, Wisconsin at Nebraska, Ohio State at Maryland, Penn State at Rutgers, Iowa at Minnesota. Anything else stick out to you in the Big Ten this week that you want to touch on?
Um, no, just it's just the top three and everybody else.
The
The
Maryland
top
fall
the
has
top
kind
three
of
all happen to
surprised
be in the
me.
same division.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30-0.
Yeah. Just
They've
they think they've
they've
lost
fallen
two
off.
or three in a row. Yeah. They've really fallen off. But yeah, nothing else surprised me. It was a bunch of favorites beating underdogs. So we will quickly do our Big Ten rankings. These are, like Logan said, they are pretty much non-factor at this point. But go ahead, Logan.
I don't even know. I
I'm
haven't
assuming
even
your bottom
my
five are
bottom
not
five
changing.
is the same, and my top three is the same. It's 4 through
Yes.
9 that I have no clue.
Okay, so start at 9 and
So
just read them off.
all right, 14 through 10 is Northwestern, Indiana, Rutgers, Nebraska, Michigan State. That's the bottom.
Yep.
At 9,
We'll go back and forth here. Instead of
Okay.
giving me your whole, we'll just go back and forth.
All right, I'm gonna make this up as I go because I don't have this done yet. I stopped here because I didn't know where to go. I'm going to put, just as we mentioned, they're struggling of late. They're not playing well. I'm going to put Maryland at the bottom.
Okay.
At number 9. It's the only team from that side of the conference that's in this mix. And so I don't know that that's really where they should sit, but they have kind of fallen off a little bit. So I will put them at 9. How about you?
Oh yeah, I forgot we're alternating here.
We're going to alternate. You just said
I've got I've got Wisconsin. I got Wisconsin
Okay.
at 9. 10 points against Iowa, still under 500 in the Big Ten, 5-5 on the year. I got Wisconsin at 9.
Yeah. And I have Wisconsin at 8.
I
That
have
was
Maryland
one
at 8.
that I was. Now it gets a little tricky because all these teams have just beat each other, and it's hard to say who really is the better team here. Do you feel confident in what you have here?
No, yeah, I do.
Um, I'll put Illinois at 7. I don't know. A week ago, I thought they were still the 4th best team in the conference, but I can't say that anymore. And I don't really know where to put them. I know they've beaten Minnesota and Iowa, so it's hard for me to really put them below them. But at this point, it's these 4 teams competing for one spot, and it could be any of them. So hopefully they prove me wrong and something else, but I'm going to drop them that far.
I'm the optimist for once. I don't have Illinois yet. I've got Purdue there. Even though they just beat Illinois, I don't think they're better than I still think they're the worst of the 4 in the West.
That's fair.
Might be a hot
but we also
take,
just established
but
that they have the most likely chance of making it to
Yeah.
the championship.
yeah, you're right.
So, okay. I have
You're
Purdue
right.
at 6. They've just recently lost. I think they lost to who did I just say? They lost to Wisconsin and Iowa.
Yep.
They beat Minnesota earlier. I don't disagree with you. I do think they probably are, but they just came to Champaign and beat Illinois pretty handily. So I can't ignore that. I'll put them at 6.
I've got Iowa at 6.
Yeah.
I've had them as low as 13 before or 14 in the season. I don't think they're very good. So I've got them at 6. They are playing better than they were, but I got them at 6. I'm thinking you got them at 5.
I have them at 5. Yeah.
Any insight?
No,
I mean, say about them?
No, I think that they're fine. They have been hit or miss. That offense has come around a couple times this season. It's anybody's game, and we'll just leave it at that. So they're 5.
I have Illinois at 5. I only dropped them one spot. Do I still think they're a good Big Ten football team? Yeah. I think they beat themselves quite a bit yesterday, and no, they were not helped by the refs whatsoever. If Illinois and Purdue play again, I honestly think it would go 5-5. I really do think it would probably go 5-5, maybe 6-4. Illinois wins, but I'm dropping them only one spot, and I think Minnesota is the best team in the West. I've thought that all season, and they're finally starting to play somewhat like it. So we both have Minnesota at 4, and then
Correct.
Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State.
Correct.
All right, those are the power rankings. Elsewhere around college football, yesterday on Saturday, TCU was able to beat Texas in Austin 17-10. Low scoring, surprisingly, in Austin. Oregon upset at home by Washington. That was a hell of a game to watch. So much fun.
The belt.
That was the belt game. I saw a retweet.
Yep.
The belt is now in Seattle.
Yeah.
The Roosevelt
what a time.
belt.
What
do
a
they
time.
have left? Or is it good? Are they going to lose it? Could it go like
I don't know.
USC or somebody?
I haven't looked.
LSU 3 points better in Arkansas. That was a dogfight. Alabama, another great game. 6 points better than Ole Miss, 30-24. And then another upset in LA. Arizona beat UCLA 34-28.
Pac-12 is crumbling.
Yeah, no kidding. USC is about to walk into the Pac-12 championship. Any other upsets? UCF, technically an upset. 38-31 over Tulane. Boston College beats NC State 21-20. And Kentucky loses to Vandy. Vandy wins their first SEC game since, I believe, 2019. Something like that. 24-21 over Kentucky. I think the AP polls just came out.
They did. I have them right here.
Those?
Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee. Top 5 stays the same.
Yeah.
LSU moves up to 6. USC moves up to 7. Alabama moves up 2 spots to 8. Clemson 9. Utah 10. Oregon drops 6 spots all the way down to number 12.
Yeah.
Illinois also falls out of the top 25. They did still receive some votes, they would be 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
32. All right. That's where we're at. Anyone fall out of the playoff tiers?
The tiers are kind of over at this point. There's about 7 teams that are left in this thing, I think. TCU, the 4 unbeatens, TCU, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, USC, Tennessee, and LSU, I think are about the only 7 teams that really have a shot in this. I mean, if chaos ensues, you can maybe envision a scenario where somebody else squeaks in there. But here's my question to you, and maybe we should have this. Maybe we have this discussion every year. But are we looking at 2 SEC and 2 Big Ten teams?
Very, very well could be.
Yes. I mean, is that what they're going to do? I just hate this. Like, I know there are arguments for and against the 4 team, and I know we're eventually going to go to a 12 team, and there's arguments for and against that and all that stuff. And I get it's supposed to be the 4 best teams and yada, it's an invitational, yada, yada, yada. But is that really what we're going for? Just 2 teams from the 2 best conferences? Is that the best way to give you a 14 playoff?
Expansion is coming.
I know, I understand that.
This will only be for a couple of years, but potentially, yes. Potentially this season, yes. I do think USC gets in. They have UCLA and Notre Dame next. That's 2 ranked teams, 2 more wins. They're already number 8. Fair. If they win the Pac-12, I think USC gets in and leapfrogs. Let me look at TCU.
You think a 1-loss USC gets in over a 1-loss Ohio State or Michigan? What about a 2-loss LSU team that wins the SEC? There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios. I don't think you're wrong. I think they can, but are they going to jump these teams? They would have a better strength of schedule than the Big Ten teams at that point, for sure.
I think a 1-loss conference Pac-12 champ would probably get in over a 1-loss Big Ten that didn't play in the championship game.
Yeah, that's fair.
TCU has at Baylor and Iowa State, and then the Big 12 championship. So their strength of schedule is not super tough, but if they stumble, they're done.
Can they? Can the committee keep out an undefeated Power Five team?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you can. They've already said like they're in there now. So if they don't lose,
Yeah.
how can they drop? How can you drop them if they don't lose?
Well, they had them ahead of. They had them earlier behind a one-loss Alabama, and then
True.
so I mean that stuff can change every single week. I agree with you. I don't think I think an undefeated TCU as a Power Five school would definitely deserves a spot there, but I don't
Can
know.
you
I
imagine a
see
world
crazier
where
things.
LSU beats Georgia, the winner of Ohio State Michigan loses in the Big Ten championship, and TCU loses one more game, where everyone has at least one loss? Then what happens?
Roll Tide.
Right? No kidding. Well,
I don't know, man.
in that scenario,
Yeah,
LSU would have to get in because they
yeah.
won the
LSU would
SEC.
be in.
They would be
Yes.
in.
If LSU
Georgia
wins
would
out at this
probably
point,
be
they're
in.
LSU gets in. I think if they win out,
Yeah,
I do. I mean, they will have beaten Alabama, Ole Miss, and Georgia.
Georgia.
I don't know if they can keep them out.
Yeah, man, crazy. All right, let's pick some games real quickly. Both of us went 3-2 last week. We're still tied, 33-23 on the season. This week's games, have you even looked at these?
Yeah, I've picked winners, but I haven't really. I don't know what order I'm picking these teams in.
We're gonna pick Illinois, Michigan, just because the games, honestly, this week there's not a ton of marquee games. We're gonna pick Illinois, Michigan, Duke at Pittsburgh, NC State at Louisville, Texas at Kansas, Iowa at Minnesota, Ole Miss at Arkansas, Oklahoma State at Oklahoma, USC at UCLA, Syracuse at Wake Forest, and Utah at Oregon. That means I'm going first, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Geez, I haven't even looked at this, but I think the obvious pick is Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm taking Michigan to beat Illinois.
I think that that is the obvious pick. That's good. Good on you for knowing that. I don't know where to go if I'm being quite honest. But I will go ahead and take Texas with my first pick. I don't really have a good reason. But it just I know they're on the road, but yeah, I'm not confident in Kansas at this point. They're both 6-4, but whatever. Yeah, Texas, my first pick.
All right.
Good luck.
I will take Wake Forest.
Okay.
The Wake Forest North Carolina game was a fun game to watch. North Carolina clinched their spot in the ACC title game against Clemson. But I still think Wake's pretty dang good. And I don't think Syracuse is near what they used to be early in the season, kind of like Illinois. So give me Wake Forest. Sam Hartman is a slinger. Is Drake May, could he legitimately win the Heisman?
I mean, could.
I think Hendon Hooker's still got it.
Yeah, I don't think he does, but I think he could for sure. Chase Brown.
Next year, Drake May, Heisman.
Chase Brown. Um okay. So you took Wake Forest.
Did.
I will go into your territory and I'll take NC State. I know your Cardinals have had their moments in the sun, but I think NC State wins that game on the road. So I'm going to take two road teams to start this thing.
Lines just came out 35 minutes ago, and Louisville is a 3-point favorite. At least
Okay,
at
well,
open. At open, they are.
I haven't even seen lines, so
That's what we get
all
for
right.
doing this on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little hairy here. And I wanted to do this pretty quick, but that's just not happening. Because I don't know. I can't find these freaking games on this screenshot. Wow. All right, so Duke, Pitt, Iowa, Minnesota. I can't find on here either. What the heck? Riveting radio podcasting here. Give me I'll take USC. I don't care that it's. I just think USC is a lot better than UCLA. I'm gonna take USC.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go probably. Yeah, that's a good pick. Good pick. Okay. Um, I'm going to take. Uh, all right. One of these teams is not very good this year. The other one is better. This is usually always a fun game. But I'm going to take Oklahoma State. This is not Oklahoma's season. And I think the Cowboys take this one this year. So I will take Oklahoma State.
All right. I will. There's one game I want to pick, but do I trust them on the road? What do we have left? We have Duke, Pitt, Iowa, Minnesota, Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Utah, Oregon. Oh man, I'll take a road team here. Ole Miss at Arkansas. Arkansas just played LSU really well at home. I don't love that pick, but I'm gonna take Ole Miss to beat Arkansas. These games suck, man. Who picked these?
Oh, I'll have to fire that producer again.
Again.
I'll go to the Big Ten. I'll go to the Big Ten. I'll take Minnesota.
Yeah, probably should have.
I know we've talked about it. You mentioned it. I think it's probably fair. I think they probably are the best team in that division. If they're healthy, at least. Iowa has had its moments, but I'm not super confident in them on the road. I will take Minnesota.
All right.
Leaves you with Duke, Pittsburgh, and Utah, Oregon.
Yeah, one of those two I want nothing to do with.
One of those two.
Yeah, even more so than the one I'm going to pick because it is going to. I'm very interested to see how Oregon bounces back from this loss, and I think they will bounce back pretty well at home. So I'm going to take Oregon to beat Utah in Eugene, bounce back from their Washington loss.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do too. So smart on you. All right. So that leaves me with Duke and Pittsburgh. Are either of these teams any good? No.
Duke 7-3, Pittsburgh 6-4. So I don't know what that says.
I'll take Duke. I don't know why. I know nothing about Duke football this year, so gonna roll with it. Duke on the road.
All right. Logan has Texas to beat Kansas, NC State to beat Louisville, Oklahoma State to beat Oklahoma, Minnesota to beat Iowa, and Duke to beat Pittsburgh. Just for reference, NC State is an 3-point underdog. Oklahoma State is a 6-point underdog, and Duke is an 8-point underdog.
Yay me.
I've got Michigan to beat Illinois, Wake Forest to beat Syracuse, USC to beat UCLA, Ole Miss to beat Arkansas, and Oregon to beat Utah.
Next time we just won't do this before we get the lines, so we're good.
Anything else football?
Notre Dame almost lost again. But no, nothing else.
Okay,
that's it.
Fair enough.
Roll Tide.
Moving on to basketball, Illinois is 2-0. Wins over Eastern Illinois on Monday of last week and Kansas City on Friday night, both by 25 plus. Friday night was 30, close to 40. For our full thoughts on those games, we did do post-game shows for both of them. They are on our YouTube and wherever they're on the same places you're listening to this. You can find those as well. Each of them about 30 minutes long with our immediate reaction to the game and what we liked and what we didn't like and all that good stuff. So check those out. Couple days removed from those games. How are you feeling? Anything change? Have you thought of anything you didn't touch on in those?
No. I just think this is a fun team to watch. I have no idea what we're going to see on Friday or Sunday when they start to actually see good competition. Um, I love the what we're getting from Dane Danger early on. We'll see if that can hold up. I have my doubts, but I would love to be proven wrong. Um, Same things we talked about. The outside shooting is a concern, and the lack of production from both Matthew Meyer and RJ Melendez, who we didn't really talk about much in the previous show, is probably
Yep.
also a concern. Both of those two guys have been real non-factors up to this point in the season. Now it's only been 2 games, and they've been against lesser opponents, and whatever, it's fine. But just something to be a little weary of as we get into a very difficult stretch of games coming up starting this weekend. So I'm excited to watch them though. Not really going to learn much, I don't think, from on Monday night, assuming they just don't lay an egg and lose to freaking Monmouth. Is that who they play? Is it Monmouth?
Monmouth, yeah.
Yeah, not Monmouth College in Illinois.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just we won't learn much from that game. But the real test starts Friday. So I'm excited to see it play out. Gonna need some help from some other guys. That's all I got.
Yeah, so last night, while I was watching some football, I was also looking over more in depth at the stat broadcast feed from Friday night, the Kansas City game. And stat broadcast has a bunch of in-depth analytical stats that they don't have. Like, you won't find these on the ESPN box score or anything like that. And I've seen them for both of these last couple games, but I saw them while we were doing this, and it's got like a little glossary key on the side to tell you exactly what they are. So I was doing that last night, and there are some stats that I really like on there that I think tell a lot more of the story. So I was digging into those. And Sky Clark had a sneaky hell of a game on Friday night.
Do tell.
Um, so he scored, or Illinois scored on 82% of the possessions he was on the floor, at least 1 point.
That seems like a good number.
Yes.
Yeah.
Second highest on the team for game score. So game score measures the productivity on a scale of 0 to 40. So Dane Danger had like a 22 game score. The next highest was Sky Clark at 12.8, which is where a lot of the other guys were. Terrence Shannon was like 11. I think Jaden Epps was like 10 point something. So second best on the team in game score.
Okay.
Also second best in efficiency at 18. So efficiency is points plus rebounds plus assists plus steals plus blocks minus missed shots minus turnovers. So it's basically add up all the good things you did and take away all the bad things you did, and that's your game score. He had an 18 on there. I didn't see what the leader was. I'm assuming it was Dane Danger again, but I didn't know what it was. But that's 18 was second most on the team. I really like that one as well. His effective field goal percentage was 83%, which three-pointers are worth more in that percentage than a two-pointer or a layup or something like that. It's kind of just a weighted average. And his offensive rating, which is points produced by a player per 100 possessions. So if he's on the floor for 100 possessions, how many points would Illinois score? 202.3. I'm pretty sure the next highest on that one was like 80 something. So
Okay. All right.
great game from Sky Clark analytically. I'm gonna start looking at those a little bit more because I think they do tell a pretty good story. I like the offensive rating and the efficiency rating where you add all the good stuff and subtract the bad stuff. So I'm gonna look at those some more, but it's what we wanted to see because I don't think many of us were impressed with his Eastern Illinois game. And I know even during the Kansas City game when Jaden Epps was playing well, and I know we both made him the everyday guy of the game. That we wanted to see more from Sky, that we thought maybe Epps was kind of taking that lead guard role away from him, but it's the second game. And I thought Sky Clark did play very well. So that was good to see once I took a deep dive into those stats.
I like having both those guys on this roster.
Yeah.
I can't deny the fact that I would love to have a veteran point guard on this team. But I know it's still early returns, but I like having both Sky Clark and Jaden Epps. I think they're going to work well together. You know, I'm I think they might work well together, like actually together, like on the floor together. Not just, in like rotating circumstances. They're going to be a nice pair, I think. So it's nice to see that. Jaden had a great game, but yeah, to see some of those other analytical type things, it makes sense. I think Sky Clark did a lot of things on the court, probably that wasn't more than just scoring and dishing out assists. So that's the role he's going to play, and that's fine because I think they're both really huge gets for this team.
I think by the time Big Ten play rolls around, we could see Sky Clark scoring more than 10 points a game.
I agree.
On a regular basis and getting a feel for things, because you got to remember he missed a lot of time with that ACL. He didn't play a whole lot his senior year of high school, so he hasn't played organized basketball for a long time. So just get his feet under him, make sure that knee and once he's in game action, make sure he's comfortable with the knee, and then go from there. Busy week though. busy week for Illinois basketball. 3 games between tomorrow and next Monday. 3 games in a 7-day stretch. Starting tomorrow, Monmouth, 9:00 Eastern, 8:00 Central, Big Ten Network. That one shouldn't be too much trouble. But then it's the trip to Vegas, starting with UCLA. That is a 9:30 Friday night tip-off on ESPNU. My gosh, I hate Eastern time zone. 8:30 Eastern for all of those of you in Illinois. And then they'll also play again Sunday.
We should have gone.
Should have gone.
Could do live post games.
Guess who looked
hotel
up
room
flights last night as well, just to see if one dropped.
You're gonna text
exponentially.
See, and this is how you'll operate, audience. I just want to give you a little sneak peek into Craig and I's relationship. Craig and I are good friends. We talk all the time. Craig, honest to God, would just go to Las Vegas and not even tell me. And it'd be like tip off for the game. And Craig would text me and he'll say, "Hey, we can do a post game, but I'm going to need you to edit it because I'm in Las Vegas." And I'll be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" This is honest to God how this would work. If you do it, you won't tell me you're going. You will just show up. Not that it's my business. You don't have to tell me everything you're doing, but like, I don't know, it pertains to our podcast and our show that we do together. You wouldn't even tell me. You would just show up.
You forgot to add something in there that you would text me Friday morning and I just wouldn't respond.
God, you're so bad.
I am self-admittedly the worst texter on the planet. Logan can attest. Everyone I text can attest to this. I am the worst texter on the planet. I will see it. I will read it. I will put my phone down, and 4 hours later, I'll be like, "Oh crap, I didn't text him back."
It makes it more difficult for me because, like today, for example, you had texted me, asked what time I wanted to do this thing. I didn't respond to you for a little while because I was doing another show, and but then I text you and told you a time that I said we could do this, and then you didn't respond for like I don't know how long. So then I had to text you again. I didn't want to be like an asshole.
I was eating lunch at that point, but I could have texted you.
Yeah. I don't know if you're seeing these. I don't know if you're ignoring me. Like, can you just respond?
Should I turn my read receipts on for you? Should I do you want me to turn my read receipts on for you just so you know that I at least read it?
It might be helpful, just as your business partner, sometimes if, just so I know that you've seen me and that you're just ignoring me, because then I can just, call you, be like, "Hey, but yeah, I'm not going to Las Vegas, but if you want to go to Las Vegas, that is fine. Just give me a heads up. Maybe next year."
No, maybe next year. I would have loved to, but with everything going on right now with my life and planning a wedding and flights being $400, it's just not in the budget.
Everything is so expensive right now.
Yeah.
One other basketball note that I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you saw. I tweeted this out yesterday. I watched the entire ring presentation from Friday night on the Illini YouTube page. I watched the 2-minute long Trent Frazier video. I watched it 2 or 3 times. Craig, I sat here at my desk and I bawled. Like I bawled.
Wait, where was this at? I just texted a buddy.
It's on their YouTube. It's on.
Okay. It's on the YouTube.
Yeah, they posted the whole thing. You just
Okay.
have to go.
Okay.
It's like 9 minutes in.
Okay.
It's the Trent
I
video.
didn't search the YouTube. I searched their Facebook and their Twitter. I
I
was
did too.
specifically looking for Trent. So I texted someone at U of I. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, is this posted anywhere? And they said that it was only for in-house. So I'll go check the YouTube.
So I watched the entire thing on somebody else's post. I think it was Jeremy Werner's post of the whole ceremony. So I watched his, and then as I was done, I'm like, I wonder if that Trent video is anywhere. So I went to the YouTube
Yep.
page, and they have the whole thing like in a much better quality with like legitimate cameras and things shooting it. But then the Trent video is in the middle
Good.
of that, about 9 minutes in. He
Good deal.
also
I'll go
posted
check
it
that.
on his Instagram,
That's where I first saw
but
it because
the
you
whole
shared it.
thing is not there. It gets cut
Yep.
off.
Yep.
But yeah, he's already back in Serbia, so very
Right.
quick trip for him. But yeah, I honestly God, I sat here and cried.
All right.
Like it was great. Moving on.
Yeah. Quickly, what do you think of this week? Because we're not going to do another one of these until after Las Vegas. We'll do our post-game shows, but we won't do our weekly show till after Las Vegas. What do you think this week?
As in, like, what I want to see out of this weekend.
Yeah. What do you expect? What do
I
you
mean,
want
I
to
would
see?
love a
What do you
win.
expect?
I would love a win.
One win in
Las
Vegas.
One
A
win in
2-1
Vegas.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, one win in Vegas would be great. I just don't know what this team is yet. It's hard to know against teams like whoever we've played, Eastern Illinois and whatever
Kansas City.
Like it's just hard to know.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you have last year's team going up against these teams, you at least know what you have on the floor. You at least know that you have an All-American center, and you have these teams. We don't know what we have right now.
Yep.
We know we have a twitchy two guard that can put up a lot of points in a hurry, and it's going to shoot a lot of free throws. We know we have a stretch 4, stretch 5 that can light it up for 6 threes and a half, but could also go ice cold. We know we have 2 freshman point guards who have done a lot of good things. We just don't know. So it's hard for me to like have a lot of expectations before this weekend because can't really have the expectations if you don't know what you're expecting. So would love a win. If they can go to Vegas and get a win, whether that's against Baylor or UCLA or Virginia, whoever, that I think that would be a win because all 3 of those teams are good. Those are all 3. Every possible scenario that they would see in Las Vegas is a really good basketball team. So if they can get a win against one of them, I would be pretty happy.
Rankings and analytics wise, Illinois is the worst of the 4 teams there. I think Virginia would be the one that Illinois might have the best chance against. UCLA and Baylor are obviously top 10, top 5 teams. This just came up on my Instagram. If anybody needs to give me a Christmas present, we'll just go right there and
I like that one.
Get that for me.
Is that Nike?
It is Nike.
Shoot me that link.
It was signing day, which snuck up on me. I had no clue until Illinois tweeted out official like signed or whatever tweets on whatever day it was that I think Amani Hansberry was the first one to sign. So Hansberry, Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, and Zach Perrine, all 3 signed, which I think was comforting for most of Illini Nation, especially with the past recruiting. What do we want to call it? Incidents. It's not really incident. Recruiting things that have happened with guys going other places. But it was good to see all 3 of them sign. I think it's a great class, kind of unexpected class because as of like a month or 2 ago, we thought it might just be Hansberry. And then you add Gibbs Lawhorn and Perrine. I know a lot of people were expecting Perrine to be in this class, and Illinois wanted him to be on campus on the Illinois team this year, but getting a prep year might be good for him. So it was good to see all those sign. Thoughts? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, we knew the 2. I don't think we really knew the Zach Perrine thing. I don't think that wasn't really out there. We knew he had already signed once and then ended up having to reclassify because of the academic stuff. It's great. I mean, I love seeing this momentum continue from the recruiting standpoint. Just keep building on this. I think that's a pretty solid class. I mean, it's a
great class.
All things considered, when you don't really know, now you're in the world of the portal, you don't know what your roster is going to look like next year. You have to assume that, well, you won't have Terrence Shannon. You probably won't have Coleman Hawkins. Matthew Meyer will be gone.
You could have Terrence Shannon. I think he could have another year, I think.
Okay. We probably won't have Terrence Shannon. So you just don't know. You just don't know what
I
the season's
think
going to look like
Meyer's the
either.
only one that does not have eligibility left.
That's probably
I'm
true.
I'm I'm pretty positive on that.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. But
But I
yeah.
agree with you that most of the team will probably be gone. Or Hawkins, Shannon, Meyer, those guys will be gone. In other men's basketball news, how about them Salukis?
How about them Salukis?
Oh boy, that was fun.
Yeah. It was a good time.
Were you watching it,
I
or did you
watched. I
just see the
caught that
score?
was Thursday, right?
Thursday, yeah.
So yeah, I caught the end of it. I went to see Black Panther that night. So
Oh,
I caught it when I got home. I watched the last probably 10 or so minutes.
yeah,
That was fun, man. This team, there's some talent there, and we already knew some of it, but they might be able to do some things. Going to Oklahoma State, going to a Power Five, Power Six school,
hmm,
and getting a win like that's huge. That's huge for a lot of things.
yeah,
Not just the win loss column, but like that win could mean a lot in March. That win could mean a lot for recruiting. It's just those type of things just don't happen very often at that level. You just don't see it. I mean, yeah, every year there's a few bye games that get botched. Um, but just the fact now we know that Oklahoma State's coming to Carbondale next year,
yeah.
as a part of this home and home
Buy
thing
my
they're
tickets
doing.
tomorrow.
Um, like that's just fun. That's just
Yeah,
fun to see. I don't know, I don't know how good that team is on paper.
yeah.
But to go in there and pull off a win like that, that's a huge win for Brian Mullins and his staff. So I love that, and I want to see more of that for sure.
Yeah, they are playing here in 45 minutes in Evansville against Southern Indiana, which is a new. This is their first year D1. SIU is 78 in Ken Palm currently. They were 84 prior to the Oklahoma State game, and Oklahoma State was 42 prior to the Oklahoma or that game, and Oklahoma State is still 42. So Oklahoma State did not drop. They're a top 50 Ken Palm team, and SIU just went in there and beat them. I had it on. We did go to dinner with Christy's aunt Thursday night, and I had the ESPN Gamecast up on my phone while we were eating. And then we got home and I turned it on. And I'll be honest, I wasn't paying too much attention because it was kind of like a 7 to 10 point game. Oklahoma State was winning. And then SIU started making that run at the under 4. And I started really focusing in and giving some fist bumps and stuff. And then Oklahoma State missed that potential buzzer beater. And I jumped up and I did a lap around the house. I was much more excited than I thought I was going to be when they pulled out that win. So
I'm really surprised you did not go to Evansville today.
the words were getting ready to come out of my mouth. I was this close to driving to Evansville today for the game, but decided against it. The campus is on the other side of Evansville, so it's a little more than 2 hours. It's just a little far, a little bit too far. If it would have been like an hour 45 or hour 40, probably, but just a little bit too far for me to go on my Sunday. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, when did we get infatuated with these basketball games in non-basketball venues? Like, what's the big deal? The aircraft one I did like. I thought that was very cool. It's not the first time that has happened. The Gonzaga Michigan State game on the USS Abraham Lincoln in San Diego. It was cool, but like they did it in the middle of the day, so the sun was an issue for the first 10 minutes of the game. Like, why not wait until the sun goes down or something like that? But the one that I don't understand is the Stanford Wisconsin game at Miller Park. Like, why are we doing this?
One word.
Who cares?
Money.
But
Money.
uh,
Money. Everything is about money.
what
They
was the
don't care.
crowd like there?
Who
Did they
cares?
sell more
Did you
tickets?
see this is okay, so hold up. This is not an apples to apples question, but did you see what just came out about Conference USA?
No.
Conference USA announced their media rights starting next year with ESPN and CBS. Conference USA is going to play their entire slate of football games in the month of October on weeknights. Those decisions are not made
So the
with
MAC.
Yes, basically. But the MAC doesn't do every game. The MAC only does a
No,
couple games.
they
They're
do
going to do
November.
every single one of their games in October on during the week. Those decisions are not made with an audience, with a physical audience in mind. Those decisions are made strictly with a TV audience in mind.
I don't get it.
I don't know. The whole thing is strange. I'll give it to you. I thought it was odd that was happening. The aircraft carrier, that's a cool thing for that's a
Especially
novelty
on
game.
Veterans Day.
Yes, that's a novelty game. Like I'm fine with
Yeah.
that. Yes, the whole Miller Park thing or whatever it's called now,
Who cares?
in
It's Miller Park.
Milwaukee. Yeah, that was. I don't know why they did it. I don't know
Did you
what the
see the
purpose of it
setup?
was. Yeah, I watched
Like the court was like on the diamond. Why
I
would they
watched the
not?
time lapse video.
Why would they not turn it to where like one of the baselines is up on the plate, so you could
I
kind of
don't
get
know.
at least some fans close? Like it just didn't
I
make
don't know. I
sense.
don't know the purpose of it, but I mean it's a marketing effort. They can market
Yeah.
around it. They can do things with it, and they can sell it to well, they did put it on FS1. Granted, I mean, it was obviously going to probably be on there anyway since it was Stanford, but yeah, it's a money play. It's a money play.
Yeah. Oh well. All right. Anything else basketball before we move on?
No.
No.
Moving on.
All right. Moving on to something we posted on our channels early last week. I caught up with former Illini golfer Nick Hardy. He played at Illinois. I think he graduated probably in 2017, maybe 2016 or 17. He was on those really good teams that went to like 2 or 3 match play at the national championships. Him and Dylan Meyer and those guys. But he's on the PGA Tour grinding away there. He ended last year on a pretty high note, and he has started this year. He's made all 5 cuts that he's played in this season so far. Last year, he was in contention on Sunday of the U.S. Open, and that kind of springboarded him to finish last year. So I caught up with him. It's a good 15, 17-minute conversation. It is on our YouTube channel. It's on everywhere you're listening to this as well. So go listen to that in full. But just here's a little preview, a couple minutes of what we talked about, him playing well and the start to his season. Playing pretty well, Nick, aren't you?
Yeah, it's been a solid start to the year, and it's nice to get off to a good start. That's for sure.
What was working in Mexico? I know you almost set a PGA Tour record, right? Something
Yeah,
like that.
I in the final round I made 8 consecutive birdies, one short of a PGA Tour record, and yeah, it was a fun stretch there. I mean, I felt like golf was super easy. So whenever that happens, those rare times, you gotta take advantage and have fun.
Yeah, what's that like? I mean, the average golfer, like most, maybe lucky to get 1 birdie. So to get 8 in a
Yeah.
row, are you like, are you actually feeling different, or are things just kind of going your
Um,
way?
I'm just in a high state of focus. Honestly, there's no difference. It's just I'm very focused and I'm very unemotional. I'm very unattached to the results. I'm just kind of in the flow of like what I'm trying to do. I'm seeing what I want, and I'm really just going for it. That's basically all there is to it. And combine that with a high focus level, and I think that those things can happen.
Yeah, and I feel like that might be kind of a microcosm where your game's at right now. I said you made 5 straight cuts. You ended last year very strong. Currently, your best official world golf ranking of your career so far. Just how much confidence do you have in yourself right now? A couple years you've been grinding to get to this point, and you're finally starting to get where you want to be.
Yeah, it's fun. I've really enjoyed the journey ever since I turned pro like 4.5 years ago. I think I'm definitely at a point where my game is the best it's ever been, and I feel like I'm just kind of scratching the surface. I think of what I can do on the PGA Tour. I think my goals are very high. I'd say my standards of myself are very high. They always have been, and just combining my progress with what I've been learning through this journey and like learning on the PGA Tour. I think it's gotten me showing the growth a little bit.
Yeah, last year you had some injuries early, if I believe, right?
I did. I played poorly and then I was injured. So those two combinations are not a good combo for recipe
Yeah.
for good golf. So it was tough start to the year, but I prevailed and just I weathered the storm and I got on a nice little run in the summer.
Yeah, let's talk about that U.S. Open. T14 at the U.S. Open in contention right there on Sunday. What was that like for you with some of the biggest names in golf? And I think you might have had the lead or a tie for the lead late in the tournament.
Yeah, I was 2 shots back with about 12 holes to go, so I was right there on Sunday, and it was definitely a new experience for me. I've never been in contention on a Sunday to major. That was something else. So, I mean, it was an experience that I'll never forget, just because I learned so much. There's so much involved in that experience, just the craziness, and handling that is something new to me, and it's definitely an experience I kind of have taken off on and kind of bounced off of, I would say.
What was that environment like? Just the country club, so much
Yeah,
prestige. Fitzpatrick doing what he's doing.
yeah.
What was the environment like in the feel on the course?
It was extremely loud. The fans were great in Boston. It was just a great venue for a U.S. Open. The USGA did a fantastic job setting up the course. I think the course was amazing. It was a tough but fair challenge, and it was perfect. It was perfect for a U.S. Open, and it was the fourth one I played. And I would say, yeah, it was right up there for all four. I mean, I think in terms of the venue and the tournament, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was fun to watch on TV for sure. To end the year though, I think were you the first one out of the playoff or something like that? One of the first five out of the FedEx or something?
Yeah, I ended up being with the last list. I ended up losing my 126th by point six
Yeah.
points. So less than a point I missed out on. Yeah.
Yeah. How does that play into this year? Is there some motivation this year?
Oh yeah. I mean, like I earned my card back through actually two different ways. I earned it back through the Corn Ferry Finals, and then I had some
Mhm.
medical starts left over because I was injured. So they gave me some medical starts, and I earned my medical in my first event. So I'm in the
Okay.
major medical category the rest of the year, which is solid. It's good, and it definitely gives me motivation. I mean, I have a lot to prove.
All right, that was Nick Hardy again. That full interview on our YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you're listening to this. It's on those same places. Great kid, great dude. I'm going to continue to follow him. Appreciate his time, and thanks again to him for coming on and spending a little bit of his time with us. Okay, we've got a blockbuster to review. We haven't had one of these
Yeah.
in a long,
Yeah.
long, long time. And I know Logan, he is going to do this no spoilers. He is not one to give
No
anything away.
spoilers. No spoilers.
He will do a spoiler review, I'm sure, and he might have already recorded it with Coach Steve.
Yes,
To
we
come
did.
out.
We just recorded that this morning.
But yeah, Wakanda Forever came out last week. Logan was probably the first person in the world to see it. Um, so what do you think, Logan? The floor is yours.
Um, this was so Ryan Coogler was kind of given a nearly impossible task of this movie. Just all the things involved. With obviously most notably the loss of the film's star, Chadwick Boseman, back in 2020. From then, they had to essentially rework everything. They had to make the decision if they wanted to recast T'Challa or carry on without that character. They ultimately chose the latter. They chose to carry on without recasting the character. They and then from there they had a lot of things they were trying to do. They were trying to introduce new characters and new worlds, and have an entire movie that's essentially about grief, which is heavy in a Marvel blockbuster type of movie. There's just a lot of things they had to do in this movie, and I think they did it all pretty well, if you ask me. I think it's certainly not as good as the first, and I wouldn't even say it's, I don't know where you would call upper tier Marvel. I think it's the best of the three this year. The other two being Doctor Strange and Thor. But it certainly had its flaws. I thought the performances were really strong. I was really impressed with Letitia Wright. I was a little concerned about her, um, kind of not necessarily headlining the movie because it is an ensemble movie, but she does have a lot to do in this, more so than I'm sure she had originally when the script came out. She is heavily involved in this movie. The other thing that I'll say, and I know another friend had mentioned this to me, and it's a good point. If you notice the marketing and the poster for this movie, The words Black Panther are written in a much smaller font than the words Wakanda Forever. This is a Wakanda movie. This is not a Black Panther movie. Black Panther, that role is not, it's obviously a part of it for sure, but this is a movie about the people of Wakanda. I enjoyed it. I think they did a really nice job with it. I don't know that it's my favorite movie of Phase 4. Now we've finally closed out Phase 4 in the Marvel Universe. I still think Spider-Man No Way Home is probably my favorite, but I think they did a nice job with it. All things considered, it could have went a lot wrong in a lot of ways. I know to some people it didn't do what they wanted it to do, and that's fine. Everybody's gonna have their own opinion, but me personally, I really enjoyed it. I think they did a nice job with this movie, and I'm sure I'll see it again and I might have more thoughts. But all things considered, I was pleased with it. So
Did the person you thought would be Black Panther become Black Panther?
it didn't happen like I thought it would. I'll say that. Um, I've had a lot of thoughts on who could be the Black Panther and
I
what they
think
could do
there
with
was
that.
so many different options.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. Sort of, yes, but not necessarily how I was expecting it to happen. So it's good. Obviously, I recommend it to anybody that hasn't seen it yet, especially if you are a fan of these movies. To answer your question, I don't know when it will slow down. I know that's what you're concerned about. I think it's still, I saw today, it's like the second highest grossing opening weekend of the year, behind, I think, only Top Gun. So
Yeah.
people are obviously coming out for this movie. So I don't know how long it will. It doesn't really have anything to go up against for a while until Avatar. That's the other thing. There's a lot of this is a lot of Black Panther, The Way of Water type of things here, because that's the name of the Avatar movie coming up, and it's blue there's definitely some similarities.
Wait, what?
From the new Avatar movie that comes out in December. It's
Yeah.
called Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yeah.
It's going to take place a lot in the water, and this movie is very similar.
They're in the water?
Yes, the the basic plot of this movie, outside of the grieving part, is that there's another world, essentially another people, the Talocan, who is led by Namor, who's a very popular Marvel comic character that we just haven't seen in this universe. He's kind of like their answer to Aquaman. And it's about another city, kind of like Wakanda, or country like Wakanda, that is hiding away and nobody knows about him and all this thing. So there's
Gotcha.
turmoil between these two people. So yes, a lot of it does take place in the water.
Gotcha.
With this type of thing. So it's really good. I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, as I said, my friend Coach Steve and I did a whole show about it. So if you're looking for spoiler thoughts and all my thoughts, go check that out. But I was pleased. I gave it like an 85, but I think that's a little
That's
generous.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
A little generous, I think, but that's where I'm at.
So obviously I think everyone knows that they did not recast Chadwick.
Correct.
How would they have done that? Would it have been like is it it's not War Machine?
Yeah, War Machine. Yeah.
It would have been like
exactly,
War Machine,
or the Hulk. Yeah,
brand new.
Would just have they recasted him? Yeah, they would have just replaced him. There probably would have been some sort of something at the beginning that says dedicated to our friend Chadwick Boseman, and then we would move on. And there was a large movement for that. A lot of the fan base, especially the heavy comic book fans, were really adamant about recasting him. They thought that was the best way to honor his legacy and honor the legacy of the character, because they think because they say that character is too important to not recast.
Yeah.
And I think they handled it very well. I won't give you anything else, but I think they handled it very well.
Would there have been a way that they could have included that character, but only as Black Panther and not as, like, always have him in the suit to where you never see who the actual actor is?
I mean, they could have, but I don't know that that's really what realistic. They were going for. I mean, the Black Panther mantle is, a protector of Wakanda. And I don't know, maybe. I'm sure there's a lot of ways they could have done it, but and Steve and I talked about this. I wasn't really vocal about one way or the other. I'm not a comic book reader. I can't really speak to what that character means and everything, but I was fine with them not recasting him and just moving on with it. But as I said, I think how they handled it, I think they did it really well.
Cool. Good.
Go see it.
The first one is probably, if not top 3, top 5 of my favorite MCU movies.
Same. I think it's the only one that's been nominated for Best Picture, but I think aside from the very CGI heavy final fight sequence, I think it's a near perfect movie. I think it's that good. This one is not that good, but it's just, don't get it twisted. Like it is not. I've heard a couple people say it's better, but I cannot agree with that at all. It's good though. Like it's certainly better than a lot of the other crap they've put out. But it's not
the Eternals
anywhere near the first. Yeah, there's that too.
Justin Fields.
Yeah, I've seen people tweeting about him. Is he having a day?
I think he just ran a 70-yard touchdown.
Oh, good.
I think it was 70 yards. Holy cow. So I did not tell you this. I wanted to get your reaction here. I watched a new release, not a movie that was released 10 years ago. I watched a movie that was released less than a week ago. Yeah.
Wow. Have I seen it?
I don't know.
Was it Weird Al?
No.
Oh.
It was on a streaming service though.
Okay. What was it?
Enola Holmes 2.
I have not watched Enola Holmes 2 yet.
I
really liked the first one, but I haven't watched the second one
we
yet.
loved the first one. We loved the first one. So I think Tuesday or Wednesday night when we didn't have any games or anything that I cared about, we sat and watched it. Just it's fun. It's a fun movie. I don't know if it's a trilogy, series, I guess, movie series. Millie Bobby Brown, Henry Cavill. There was someone else in the movie that looked familiar, and I can't remember who it was now. But yeah, it was a good cast. It was fun. We really enjoyed it. It's not like the best movie you'll ever see, but it's fun. That's the other thing. How long was Black Panther, or how long was Wakanda Forever? A couple hours?
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Avatar is over 3 hours long. So is Babylon, the new Margot
I thought
Robbie,
we learned
Brad
from
Pitt
The
movie.
Irishman that 3-hour movies are not the way to go.
No.
Anyways, this one's like it's a little over 2 hours, is Enola Holmes. But
no, I really enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, you'll like the second one. It's just as good. Millie Bobby Brown's great. But yeah, I wanted to get your reaction to that. Yellowstone starts tonight. That comes back for might be the final season, I think. But yeah, that's where we're at. We watch we got our weekly shows that we watch, and that's about it. So
I did mention I did watch the Weird Al movie, and if you haven't had a chance to see that, especially if you're a fan at all of his music, it's an enjoyable watch. The Weird Al movie is the absolute equivalent of his music in movie form. It is verbatim. Like it is.
That's the way it should be.
Perfect replication of it. It's a fine movie. Like it's not life changing, but like it is a parody of a biopic, and it's just fun. So I would recommend it for anybody that's a fan of his music at all. It's on the Roku channel if you have access to the Roku channel.
I thought it was Hulu.
No, it's on the Roku channel. So
yeah,
you have a Roku. You should already have
the Roku. Oh, is it free if I have a Roku?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You have to download the Roku channel app, but
I don't know that I'll watch it, but at least I have access to it.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
See you tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We've got 3 Illinois basketball games this week. We have not talked about post-game shows. We normally don't decide if we're going to do one until like tip-off of the game. But we do have 3 next week, so you could potentially have 3 post-game shows from us next week. That'll be fun. Be sure and check those out. As for this one, like and subscribe to this video. If you're still here, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Logan is off to set up his Christmas tree and decorate his Christmas tree and shovel 3 feet of snow off of his driveway and all that good stuff. I'm going to sit and watch football. So go Cowboys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We'll likely see you tomorrow night.